welcome to XReality podcast. I am the host, Dominic Wu, and beside me is the guest, Louis. Hi, Louis. Could you share a little bit about your background with us?
Hi, Dominic. Hi, all. Thank you very much for having me. So I am Luis Martins. I started working with emerging technology around 11 years ago, but actually I started working in the intersection of business and technology in the past century. So that was a while. It's almost like when animals spoke. Well, actually, when smartphones or phones, they weren't smart at that time. So phones were meant for people to do calls. So I come from that early past in history. And it was really, really interesting to see at that time how the first version of the internet actually came into fruition and how people started to interact through the web um, in a way that they weren't able to. And it's really cool now to 25 years after see how so many things are so similar. And although, of course, the context is so different and the possibilities are much bigger, at the end of the day, there's one constant element that influences it all, that influences applied technology, and that's us, the humans here, and our behaviors towards technology. So that's pretty much what engages me. That's pretty much what drives me, working and trying to understand how our interaction with technology affects our behavior and ultimately builds up cultures. Because I believe that a culture is built from people's behaviors as a society.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think about, for example, like I saw you are the uh, XRI, right? The safety
Yeah.
intelligence. In Europe. So, what do you see? How does XR Safety Intelligence Europe contribute to make XR technology safer for user?
So yeah, XR Safety Intelligence Europe is alongside with the XR Safety Intelligence that exists for has existed for a bit more time in San Francisco. Uh, it's a standards development organization, which means that we are aimed at creating frameworks and best practices promote privacy and safety in immersive worlds. That's pretty much where we are. We do this in several ways. So we do this first of all by creating awareness, and this means being present at events, trying to communicate a bit about what actually privacy and safety mean beyond the philosophical contexts and concepts, and what do do they actually mean today in a world where data is not just the new oil, it's the new oxygen, where pretty much most of these organizations thrive, online digital organizations thrive. And then the second part, I'd say, is education. So we try to upskill and to onboard more and more people onto these topics. And finally, we also do some research with selected partners in areas that allow us to advance. Again, these topics the best way possible, and also to bring these topics also the best way possible to every kind of organization, be it institutional or enterprise level startups or SMEs. It's everyone right now needs to understand a bit more about privacy and safety in pretty much all contexts, but especially in the upcoming one, because we are still uh, in a time and in a place where we can prepare for it, not just be swooped away by it.
Yeah, so um, in your book, right, you wrote a book. It's about like a metaverse, see beyond the hype. What types of key insights you offered about the development for metaverse?
So yeah, regarding metaverse, so metaverse was is a book that is available, well, pretty much on the major outlets. It was co-authored with Samantha G. Wolf, and our focus at that time was to share a bit more about this vision that around that time had a lot of hype,
Hmm.
about the next stage of the internet. And I again today, it's kind of weird to talk about the metaverse as the hype died down, and most of the people almost see it as sometimes a curse word, but at the same time, I believe that it's the reason that drove us to write metaverse is still here, and it really needs it still justifies us thinking about what the next stage of the internet is, because we do have that opportunity, and it begins there. We have an opportunity today to think about what we want for the internet to become, and that was never given to us before,
Hmm.
especially now that we have a notion of
Hmm.
what the internet was, or what the web was
Yeah.
in its first and second version. So
Yeah.
now we have this opportunity to envision what we want, and
Hmm.
we should take it. But
Hmm.
most of the times we don't. And why? Because we're so much used to knowing what we don't want.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
and it's and we think that by saying, oh, we don't want this, and we don't want this, that we will eventually, by exclusion, find what we really want. And that's not how it works. We should definitely sit down and try to like pinpoint something else rather than what's being given to us by pop culture. So yeah, we don't want a Terminator scenario on when AI starts serving defense contractors, or is put forward in military scenarios, and it's already there, and it's already like it's not a secret. So, but at the same time, we only have those references, so we need other references. We need to create again a utopia,
Hmm.
as we never did that, and we should. And that effort needs to be done. It needs to be created right now, and that's why I believe that something so complex as the metaverse, so with so
Yeah.
many layers
Yeah.
of interaction, with so many different technologies interacting, with so much convergence of
Hmm.
these technologies, and so much data, the
Hmm.
ludicrous amount of data that is going to be that is already increasingly available, but more that the one that is envisioned in this vision of the metaverse is like crazy. So we need to make sure that it serves us, and it serves a vision of that actually benefits us all, and it's not just a vision that brings in more money to A or B or C, and but essentially something that is worthwhile for us all.
Wow. So you think that metaverse is more like the next definition of so-called internet, right? And we got the chance to start defining because I think during the time that internet, people still don't know what's the concept of it, and they start defining. And now is the term that we can start defining. And as far as I know, like a CES, right? This CES 2025, people said that it's a smart glasses year, right? Because there are a lot of really cool smart glasses in CES. What do you see? Because for me, I work a little bit of AI wearable types of kind of I have some knowledge of what do you think that the glass that you are wear, maybe a little heavier, with AI AR incorporate, will replace your phone. What do you see this concept? Or like a
Now,
will be dominant or better than phone. I don't know what to describe it, but
yeah. So yeah, so maybe I'll start with again the concept of the metaverse, right?
Yeah.
Because after like 2 years,
Huh.
we don't have like a straightforward definition of what the metaverse is because it's not here yet. Therefore, it's really hard for people to like agree or
Mm.
reach a consensus on what it should be. Again,
Huh.
it's an effort, an exercise that is yet to be done.
Huh.
Now, and even if it's done, then there will be like several divergent views, which is rather fair. So that's at the end, we don't have a definition. For me, I can share with you my definition. So, which is pretty much Tony Parisi's definition.
Huh.
The metaverse is the internet. Only, in my opinion, it will be layered on top of our physical reality, and it will hold many of its characteristics of the physical world's characteristics, like for instance, will be 3D,
Mm.
will be spatialized,
Mm.
it will be persistent,
Mm.
it will have several users, a massive multi-user like the internet is right now. So at the end of the day, I believe that we are building uh, this new version of the internet, but at the same end of the web on top of it. But at the same time, what we're doing is also expanding our experience
Mm.
from the 2D and these screens that we are using to communicate with each other
Mm.
to the world.
Yeah.
So making it seamless, I believe,
Mm.
will be a key part. And for sure, smart glasses and AR glasses allow, for instance, for augmented reality experiences and overlays and filters to be enabled,
Mm.
will be also very, very important. Same way with, again, uh, having computer vision algorithms on the back that can identify what you have, and then AI interpreting and allowing you to access services so much in a much quicker fashion than you have today. That
Mm.
will make a huge, and is already making a huge difference.
Mm.
Um, I believe if you ask me, so will glasses become the next interface that will replace phones? Again, I don't believe that will there will be a replacement. I believe that they will become at a given point very, very important and most possibly prevalent, but I'm not really sure if it's going to replace. And I'm not seeing it that I'm not seeing that happen in the next 5 years or something, because again, we're talking about something that will benefit much more when we do have that hybrid layer that is digital and physical, but so 3D, persistent, spatialized in place. And we don't even have the structure for that. And after we have the structure, we will need to have the services and the content for that. And after that, we will need to have access. So still a lot, I believe, ahead of us for us to actually be there. But until then, yeah, I believe that it's important for us to start discussing the best ways to access the metaverse, to access these experiences, the best interfaces, and that's why I believe at this time it's so important also to talk about these glasses in its wide variety, because we can already see that from Ray-Ban to Orion,
Yeah.
and not only that, yeah,
Yeah.
you have, yeah, just in the AR glasses
Yeah.
part, you have such a wide scope. Well, then you have also the VR on the VR part, several others. Again, I believe that more and more we will see more attempts and more suppliers and much better solutions at the end. Uh, uh, but still, we still have a lot of work ahead of us. And yeah, For sure. Until it becomes like mass market, I think that we're still like lagging behind like at least 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. So you estimate probably about 2030, then XR people will feel like, oh, finally, our time is coming. Because I personally think that XR people you see if you Google, right? Not many jobs out there. It's interesting. We are talking about it and we are excited about it, but you see, still, I would say, just like you say, it might take another 5 years to rock for a creator to actually utilize their skills to implement to something that matters. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end, it's as you say, it all boils down to what really matters, and
Mm,
what matters to people and to most people is not technology. It's not if it's like cool or if it looks cool or
yeah.
if it makes you part of a community, if it allows you to do stuff that you weren't used to. No, it's just
Mm,
does it solve my problems better?
yes.
Uh, does it like make me feel better when I need it?
Yeah.
Is it like more convenient? What's in it for me? And that's pretty
Mm,
much what people are looking for. So at the end, that's why when we're talking about, for instance, VR, it's something that you will find whenever you ask someone
mm,
that who is not used to VR. The first thing they say, "Oh yeah, because it seems kind of lonely because you put in the headsets and have you tried it?" No,
mm,
and the issue is that they have an opinion without even trying. Why? Because they can look at it and they can from that observation extract a conclusion. And of course, when they try it and when they understand that social VR is a thing and that they can communicate with so many other people, even attend the events through a VR headset, that's like amazing for them. It's like groundbreaking. But at the same time, they understand the concept. It's really interesting. But again, they don't want to use it. Why? Well, because their friends are not in there, because yeah, they hey, they don't know how they can leverage the huge opportunities and possibilities that the headset has.
yeah.
So I believe that at the end, it all boils down to creating services and products and
Mm,
experiences that are meaningful to
yeah.
people,
Right.
and uh, finding and then promoting those experiences, I believe, is key
Mm,
in allowing people to want to
mm,
interact with the technology. And then I believe only after that
mm,
we will have other issues regarding um, availability, accessibility, ergonomics, all of that will come into play. But before that, people will really need to want, they will have to want to test the technology
mm,
before us really feel, before we have these issues being put massively by the market. So yeah, at the end, that's pretty much what I believe at this time is going to happen in the market. Um, Content is going to define how we are going to move forward, and yeah, I strongly hope, I really, really hope that that is going to change in the next few years because we are waiting for VR headsets to become house appliances for too much time, for too
yeah.
long.
Yeah. So I think for the next generation of device, it's definitely much better, and hopefully we can create a lot of like contents, good contents, and make people feel like, oh, this really matters. And last questions, like, what's your advice for college student who want to enter to or like be prepared for the AI era? Because as far as I know, a lot of young generation because you see like a AI, right? Pretty much already start taking over a lot of tech mid level. jobs, and a lot of if you see recently the news, all the big tech was laying off people, right? So, what's your advice for especially the junior one? Like, how can they survive?
Yeah, survive on the jobs market, right?
Yeah, and also like
Yeah.
how to be well prepared, or what should they do to help them to be a stronger candidate, or they can develop the better career in this AI era.
Yeah. So I'm going to put on my XRSI hat and answer that question because I do believe that, of course, there will be the need for specific technical skills. These technical skills, yeah, will be supplemented a lot by AI. We talked about that. I do believe that 90% of the work being done by developers will be replaced
Mm,
but I also believe that the 10% remaining will most probably be the the percentage that will make a difference and will most probably create value for the company. So if 90% is like commoditized, all the
yeah.
10% that is like done at and personalized
Mm,
clearly not only enhances the overall quality being delivered by the industry itself, but at the same time also adds value. So it's as I see it, it's like an orchestra, right? So you will
mm,
have like much um, people will be able to focus on the really hard parts
yeah.
and like when they play the violin and they really will focus in making it the best way possible, the sound it the
Yeah.
best way. So that I believe will bring a lot of opportunities for people on the technical side. But moreover, I also believe that there will be for the technical crowd and also for UX crowd like you, a lot of work to be done on applying it to specific verticals, to
Mm,
specific niches, or even to specific use cases. Because most of the times people have this notion that, oh yeah, we just need like to know a viewer or something that will enable people to see stuff
mm,
and for instance an augmented reality virtual reality
yeah.
experience and then content will play
Mm,
and that's not how it works because
mm,
at the end we don't do that for
mm,
instance when accessing TV or accessing whatever for instance on Netflix it's exactly the opposite. I don't go in there. I have to select the content, okay, and then content plays. That's perfect, but it's pretty much something that I do sitting down clicking on something that already existed, which was my TV, right?
mm,
What we're right now sharing with our audience is do exactly the same, but with something that you never tried.
yeah.
That doesn't really work, I believe.
Mm,
So at this time, I do believe that it's really important for all of the all of the content and all of the approaches to vertical markets to be done in let's say much more mindful manner
mm,
and for even people from these markets to be brought in a way that the interfaces, the experiences, the access itself is eased up. And that will for sure also entail the creation of new jobs, some of them technical, some of them will be facilitator jobs, jobs as facilitators, people that will enable
mm,
these innovations inside the organization, but in an applied manner
mm,
and leveraging in a consistent manner the several different emerging technologies that exist and continue to pop up in their sphere or in their market that are relevant to their market. So that's one. Besides that, critical thinking, very, very important, especially in a place and time where data is being like shed by pretty much anything and everything. Everything is transmitting data, everything, and there's like a constant data capture of that data. So it's really, I believe, very important for us all to understand the value of that data,
mm,
and to understand also what we own and what we don't own, and
mm,
what we should own,
mm,
and why we don't own it.
mm.
And this is really important because it's uh, at the end, it can affect how we use services. Like, for instance, um, like there are avatars
Mm,
that at this time can be created from one's face,
mm,
and they can generate hyper realistic representations of one in a virtual world, which is really, really interesting because, well, if I'm able to like jump in world and see the same face I see
mm,
here, well, that's pretty much the vision of the metaverse. And at the same time, it's much easier for me to
yeah,
acknowledge that that person is there, right?
mm,
But at the same time, that avatar is not that person's, because it's from the platform most of the times, because in the
oh,
terms and conditions they consented to
oh,
giving the usage. Yeah, so most probably in
uh,
like 20 to 25 years, maybe that avatar is going to be powered by AI, and for
oh,
29.99 its family is going to be able to talk to it and
oh, mm,
maybe find exactly. So we can talk a bit more about that afterwards, but at the end, it's really important for us to understand how AI and XR can enable several specific business models. But hey, it's not just AI and XR.
mm,
All of the digital world
yeah,
is ran on data. So it's
yeah,
having, let's say, data literacy,
yeah,
knowing how data is transferred is a really important, I believe, way for all of the professionals, not just to enhance their core skills, to act in a much more effective manner on the jobs market, but even more to become, I believe, much more responsible workers
mm, yeah,
within the digital sphere. That's clearly another one. Finally, I also do believe that most of the times people don't really uh, think about a lot about this,
mm,
especially students, because they're like stepping into the jobs market. But at the end,
mm,
what we're seeing in the last, I don't know, maybe 15 years, like we are moving from a post-truth society with
mm,
all the impacts that already existed.
mm,
Um, Politically,
mm,
and clearly we have like we are coming from a world that was like structured, that was global, into a world that is structured in blocks, right, regional blocks.
yes,
And um yeah, and clearly that is something that was, I believe, enabled,
yeah,
mostly enabled by the way that we were able to again share our data, but also by the way that people and the organizations that gather that data use that data, right? So
mm,
the way that they were able to profile one and to influence then, by using these profiles, influence people's behavior.
yeah,
I believe that it's really, really important for us all to acknowledge that, and
yeah,
then become also aware that we're moving from a post-truth
yeah,
society to a post-reality society where
mm,
we will be able to be at the same place at the same time with people and not see exactly the same thing that other people are seeing,
yeah,
because of augmented reality, because of AI, because of so many filters that we might have at the same time.
yeah,
It's really important to address the fact that we might be in two places at the same time,
mm,
because we can be here, but we can also be seeing stuff elsewhere because we are connected.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, so things, and we might like start. talking, and right now we're already talking with several AI entities. Like
Yeah.
for instance, I was I don't know, maybe 1 week ago, had the opportunity to visit at Engage VR, the
Mm,
School of AI, which was it's a rather interesting take on
mm,
um, history, and they have several historical figures with which you can talk to directly and ask questions regarding its work
mm,
or their work,
mm,
and it's really really cool to see how a conversation can run very very seamlessly between one person and a robot. So
mm,
I also do believe, and by robot I'm talking about an AI entity or an AI assistant.
mm,
So I believe that when that becomes and it's not that far away, when that becomes again commoditized, I will be also able to like talk to these entities the same way that I talk to people. Maybe I have again relationships with these entities, and these
yeah.
relationships can have several kinds of layers.
Yeah.
So at the end, we're talking about a change of so many other levels, and we're talking about here, we're talking about philosophical terms like the concept of oneself and my representation and my avatar, the concept of the other, so it's different because my identity, for instance, has also in digital world has a
Yeah.
lot to do with also the way that I represent myself, right?
Mm,
There was this in the Deloitte technology report in 2022.
mm,
They asked, I think it was millennials and Gen Zs
mm,
uh, about their own digital representation and in virtual worlds, and 69% answered
mm,
that their representation in the virtual worlds
mm,
was much more detailed and aligned with their expectation
mm,
than their physical one.
mm,
So this to say that people felt much more represented by their own avatar
mm,
rather than their own physical body. So when this happens again, concepts like me, concepts like one's self, concepts like, well, concepts that are foundational to
mm,
society and to our ideas, our concept of civilization are going to change. So
mm,
maybe again, it would be interesting for people that are working outside of the technical realm
mm,
in areas or in social sciences, for instance, to start addressing these topics.
yeah.
And I'm talking about like people from philosophy, from anthropology to focus here. And
Yeah.
at the
Right.
same time, also, yeah, I also believe that people from sociology should also think about this because it's like, you know, talking about I it's in a nutshell, it's like this. If I have the opportunity to filter out everything I want to filter out in this world
Mm,
and put in here through augmented reality and virtual reality
mm,
everything that I want to see in this world and
mm,
start interacting with it, if I have the power to digitally edit the world,
mm,
why should I try to work with other people and trying to find consensus with other people through political means and through civic action in order to make the world of all of us a better place?
mm. Yeah. I totally agree
So
because I think the future should be everything merged together, and we should be able to all benefit from it.
now at the end, that's it. But the issue is if I have the opportunity to make it, because what I believe is best is not what you believe is best, right?
Oh,
If,
yeah.
for instance, what I believe, if I believe that all people need to have white hair,
Oh,
so I can just like edit it in my world and
yeah.
everyone will have white hair, you know?
Yeah.
So if I want to everyone to have like blue eyes, I can just filter it out or filter it in.
Oh.
And that's the issue because at the end, I can do stuff and I can inflict and
Mm,
edit my very own version of the world.
mm,
And at the end is what then does that do to the democratic process? What does that do
mm,
then to civic participation, to
mm,
people feeling part of any political process?
mm,
They don't have to because they can just digitally edit stuff and then the world is connected and synced to their own priorities and needs.
mm.
So, but it's not the real world, or is it?
Yeah.
Again, post reality. So I believe that it would be also really important, circling back to your question,
Mm,
for several of the newcomers to the jobs market to help
yeah.
us answer these questions and to start also thinking about ways to address them preemptively
Mm,
and for frameworks to us to
mm,
start discussing all these matters because I do believe that they matter
mm,
and they will once these changes kick into place massively and in a number that has impact, most probably the effects will be irreversible, and we won't have that much time to act.
yeah. Yeah. I agree. What's the last thing you wanna mention if we didn't mention what's the last because we are about to finish our podcast. Do you have anything you wanna mention at the end?
Absolutely. So regarding I'd say that maybe doing like a quick rundown of what's happening right now
Mm,
in Europe.
mm,
So yeah, that might be an interesting topic. So at this time, we're seeing a lot of changes happening
mm.
everywhere with
Yeah.
AI,
Yes. Like
and at the
DeepSeek,
same
right?
time, yeah,
DeepSeek
now
is like
DeepSeek and there's going to
entire
be
America is going crazy.
yeah, and the DeepSeek is this week's novelty. Next week is probably
Yeah,
going to be
something else.
Alibaba's, and
Yeah,
then yeah,
Alibaba says that they are better than DeepSeek, so we will see.
yeah, we'll see exactly. But at the end of the day, we are pretty much condemned to live these hype cycles
Mm,
and to like live through them. And it's also because of that hard sometimes to like envision what's really happened beyond
mm,
these hype cycles and having that critical thinking again, it's really important. But still, one of the things that is part of these hype cycles, and at the same time, I believe it's uh, well, at least the diagnosis is true, relates to Europe not being like accelerating in
mm.
the AI part as much as
Regulation. I think Europe are
APAC.
master in regulation.
Yes, exactly that. No, and that's clearly one thing. And at the same time, what we're seeing is that more and more in the US and also in the APAC region, you have a lot of countries that are taking off regulation.
Mm,
Even the smallest, the not so uh, they didn't have so many, and at the same time, they are taking off the guardrails. So, what I believe is happening uh, right now is that in Europe, besides that, and besides the regulation part, which I will come in just a moment, come back. There are several interesting projects being done that relate directly to data ownership
mm.
and to allowing people and users to actually own
Oh,
again their avatars, their data, and to make sure that their presence online holds accountability. So having like their own digital documents that allow them to like identify, having like an digital identity wallet. That's actually
mm,
how. it's called this project.
Mm.
That's a project that really is cool. A second one, for instance, is the local digital twins
Yeah.
project that is
Yeah.
aimed at creating AI services on top of smart cities,
Mm.
thus allowing these to, well, not only gather data, but more than that, generate knowledge through these AI services and start like delivering added value to pretty much all citizens. And that's actually something that is right now working in a network of 50 cities across Europe. And hopefully it's going to be afterwards in a couple of years going to be disseminated throughout all the main cities in the European Union. So it's going to be, I believe, also very um, uh, well, very interesting to see how things pan out. But all of these, I believe, are opportunities for everyone that is looking for a job, that is looking for a new career to just yeah, trying to jump in and most probably access different kinds of projects that most probably they won't be able to find
Mm.
elsewhere.
Mm.
So, because again, we're talking about projects that are meant or that have this layer, now circling back to regulation, that
Mm.
have this layer of connection with again users' rights, with data ownership, and they do that. They
Mm.
do try to leverage that and bring back that data back to the user, and they do that through regulation. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's actually one of the things that exists in Europe.
Mm.
I also do believe that there's an opportunity
Mm.
in Europe for businesses that want to add some layer of safety
Mm. Yeah.
on each and every, because there will be uh, several the way that things are accelerating,
Mm.
most probably they won't accelerate towards the places that people are looking for.
Mm.
It will just accelerate towards well, again, maximum profit
Yeah.
or something that will at least resemble that.
Yeah.
So it will be also really important for people that are entering the market that
Mm.
most probably are not just driven by that
Mm.
to also take a look at Europe
Mm.
and see what is going on the other side of the Atlantic, because most probably you will see that there will be other projects that again work in a much more or which a more a focus a bigger focus on privacy and safety.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think the interesting thing is that today I asked DeepSeek and also OpenAI, what's the difference between DeepSeek and OpenAI, and also like an open source AI versus more like paid, more private owned AI. And it says that, oh, in the future, open source AI such as Meta AI and DeepSeek will be more like it's like accelerating the innovation because it's free, so everybody can access it. But on the other hand, OpenAI, it does have more like a secure, right? Data secure. The paid version will be more premium for enterprise use. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But the interesting point is that how OpenAI take like how can OpenAI gain the data to train their model? It's usually it's like, oh, you tell me you are the secure platform, but if you go to the news, you will know the way they get the data is probably there are some discussion about it, more further discussion. So right now, data secure in AI, especially if we want to put OpenAI as a standard, it seems like we might just dump something back into only limited OpenAI to train. It might not leak, but everybody who use it might also can get. I don't know. It's just my thought, but it's very interesting to see that what's the security mean. It means that if OpenAI is later on become the standard of the enterprise premium paid security, then yeah, I mean we all know how they get the data. So it's like it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, it's again, I believe that there will be, and there are already several developments in this area that allow for, again, data to be managed inside the models, also how the learning goes and how it happens. Um, Synthetic data is not going to solve any all problems,
Mm,
and it's actually also going to create some new ones, is already
mm,
creating some new ones. So
yeah.
at the end, I believe it's something that needs to be addressed, and privacy for sure is something that is, well, besides being a human right, it is something that makes absolute sense if you're in an organization, if you
Mm,
have your own private information that most of the times like is associated with your own business models and business secrets. So it doesn't make any sense for you to like have those out there in the
yeah.
model.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's also really important to understand um, how copyrighted
Mm,
materials could
yeah.
also be like identified and pinpointed in learning patterns, and then afterwards be like extracted from them. So and right now again there are several tools and services being created towards that, so we'll see how things will fare. I do see in the future a lot, in the near future, a lot of new services appearing that will clearly add a layer of data management and a much better data governance to these services. But for now, it's pretty much the old farm, the old west. So people are like taking care of data as they did with pretty much, well, all the previous digital business models.
Mm,
And right now, again, it all boils down to people not being that literate regarding
mm,
data. So whenever they are sharing stuff, and they are saying, okay, so here's my data about because of this, or let me like just do a single sign on with my Google account.
mm,
They really don't think about the impact that that is going to have, for instance, on profiling, on political campaigns, on how people are going, how specific brands and specific um, entities are going to try and lobby you or influence you in specific ways. Like, for
mm,
instance, when you are like just stepping out of someone is doing like a Facebook Live, and on the back you are stepping out of a shoe store.
mm,
No one will know that it's you,
mm,
so no one in the front end will see that you're there. But guess who will be
mm.
who will know? So the platform itself, so that the
Yeah.
ad tech platform will have the ability to know at that time that you, at that time, that specific time, you are or you were looking for shoes in a shoe store, and therefore maybe you need,
Yeah.
well, some other
I think
stuff
so.
besides the shoes, right?
I
So
think so.
this constant surveillance is already here. It's this constant data extraction is already here. It's really important for us to all become aware of it, but
Mm,
more than that, to also leverage it in the best possible way to create added value,
mm,
XR experiences that, again, that are consented,
mm,
that where data is used to actually personalize and enhance the experience itself, and not just to, well, justify ad tech models or business models or any other kind of business model that is purely data driven. So it's, I believe, at this time, something that we should clearly focus on.
mm,
trying to like leverage data gathering for good, for our our
mm.
benefit as users, much more than just to fulfill the business model of
Yeah.
the digital platforms and ad tech platforms out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just the balance of because they need data to train their
Yeah,
model to make it better, and we want to protect our data. And I mean, I can tell you, I totally think that everything about me probably is already exposed in the internet. It's like it's very hard. Even Zoom, right? Zoom, it
yeah,
seems like at the beginning, like a few years ago, they changed their like privacy consent. It seems like you need to go through a lot of very complicated UX like screens, like
yeah,
flows in order to uncheck that box, which means all your meetings will be trained for
yeah,
Zoom. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like and even though they say they won't, but you never know because you are using their platform. So yeah, for me, I think right now I'm a bag of data, like a physical bag, human shaped bag of data that people want to use to train their model to make their model
yeah,
better. That's
yeah.
myself.
But we're so much more than that, and that's the real issue. But that's the real issue. And mind you, I am, let's say that not only you are, but let's say that there are people out there that really just want to be that, and they want to like share all day, and that's fine. I don't I don't have any issue with that. I just want them to be conscious about it. And
Yeah.
right now, I believe that none of us
Huh.
is when we're sharing data because that's not something
Huh.
that we're like conscious about. We're aware of. Most of the times when it happens, we don't know that it's
Mm.
happening.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I believe will most probably shift. And regarding AI models, it's something that again, it will be a discussion that will be increasingly done because, again, data that was used for training was private,
Mm.
was registered, was trademarked,
Mm.
and most probably it should have been paid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's one of the main issues that we're talking about because that data was not free,
Huh.
but it was taken.
Yeah, and
Okay,
make
so
it charge, people who use it need to, pay, right?
it's pretty much if it's for sale, and most of the times it was
Yeah.
again, and if you and we can also talk a bit more about that in probably another episode. But one of the
Yeah.
things that I
Yeah.
really believe on is that, uh, for instance, if you have your own personal data,
Hmm.
your own private data,
Yeah.
and if you want to like donate
Huh.
or even sell,
Huh.
or rent
Huh. Right.
your data for specific purposes, you
Huh.
should be able to. Why?
Huh.
Because it's yours.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
right? Because it's yours, and right now it's a valuable part
Hmm.
of what you have,
Hmm.
at least digitally.
Yeah.
So why don't you own it?
Yeah. The interesting thing that I wanna share with you is that in America, right, if you go to
Yeah,
hospital, you want your like a your history of what your like a your data for
yeah,
clinic from doctor. They will say that it's among requests because your own personal history of like the disease or anything, surgery,
yeah.
anything is owned by the hospital and you need to send the you need to request in order to get it. And I asked like, hey,
Wow.
that's my data. That's entire thing is all about me. And I pay for the treatment. Why I couldn't own that entire thing? And they say, oh, for the safety issue. I was like, the thing that my thing is very safe with me. If it is with you, it's not safe. I don't know. It's just a very weird thing that I couldn't own my own data when I visit to the hospital.
Yeah,
I need to
That
request,
doesn't make any
or,
sense.
and the funny thing is that I need to request another hospital, and the other hospital need to send a private email, and they will do on its own thing and skip me. It's like, hey, I couldn't even know what's going on with me, and it's just institute. They transfer in the private channel and without just go around me. And the reason why is because it's safer. I was like, what? Am I a danger person to my own personal, surgery or something, medicine history? It's just very weird in America. Yeah, that it's just for me. I understand that we all need to own our data, but for our healthcare system, it operates that way.
Yeah, but again, it's not yours. You never see it, so it's pretty much as you say. Maybe it would be safer with you, and you should have like okay, ways for you to access and to safeguard
Yeah,
it, and
I
that's
don't know.
fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the issue at the end of the day is you don't have any kind of um, ownership over it. You're unable to manage it. You're
Mm,
unable to like even provide consent
mm,
because although you ask for to one hospital to share it with another hospital, then you don't know to what extent your data
yeah.
is being used in studies, is being used in research, or being used in
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it really is something that needs to be looked into, and that is not just a Europe thing or a US thing or a South America thing or a APAC thing or a Japan thing. It's everywhere. Everyone's data should be valued. And clearly that's something that I do believe that is a trend that is going to hopefully become something really, really important for the next generation of users. At least that's pretty much what I'm rooting for, and that's how I'm educating my son. So we'll see.
That's great. Yeah. Okay. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. We release episodes weekly. If you enjoy this conversation, check out our other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Support us by giving us a follow and a 5-star rating, or subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thank you and see you next time.